Wasn't that beautiful, the bird song? Did you recognise any? There were quite a few different sorts of birds there. Have you noticed all the beautiful bulbs coming up? From the crocuses to the snowdrops. You even have seen the daffodils springing up too. Well, I found some daisies and also some catkins hanging on the trees. These catkins are off the hazel tree and they're really pretty. They look like lamb's tails. If you look really carefully at that, there's like these little sea anemone type buds on the branch quite near to the catkins. These are the female part of the plant. The lamb's tail bits are the male part, and the female part are these red little things here. They look like the sea anemones you find in rock pools, don't they? Go out and about, why not have a look around? Usually you find hazels planted as a hedge like this. This here is the overgrown hazel. Sometimes you find hazel trees laid on a bank, or people can use them for making walking sticks and things like that. Hazel is great for making bows and arrows. Here is some hazel. This is what the bark looks like. We're going to have a look at lots of different bark now. So you have to remember what the hazel looks like. It looks a little bit cracked, doesn't it? It's a bit strange. Can you see on the big trunk here? It almost looks like it's starting to peel. If we compare it with the oak that we looked at last week, this looks very different. I always think oaks look older, like humans, where we get lots of wrinkles and deep crevices. Let's compare them. Here's an oak tree, not as old as the one we photographed last week. And he's not as gnarled and doesn't have as many wrinkles. I wonder if you could find an oak tree and see if you can wrap your arms all the way around it. See how big it is. Might need 2 people to get your arms all the way around. This is an extremely old oak tree. It would take quite a few people to get your arms around this one. If you look really carefully at the bark, you'll notice that the cracks are a little deeper. Maybe because it's a bit older. So the bigger the tree, the older it is. Why don't you see if it's true whether you get a small oak tree has smaller cracks in it and the bigger oak trees have bigger cracks. It'd be really interesting to see what you think. Just remember, oaks are one of the most amazing trees and habitats for all the birds around, so you'll be able to hear the birds when you'll stand underneath them, I'm sure. Here's another tree, very different bark, can you see? The lines don't run down the tree, they run across the tree. Have you any idea what this could be? The birds like this tree because it has things on it they love to eat in the autumn. They're red, but they're not holly berries, they're cherries. This is a wild cherry tree, and that is why the lines go the opposite way to the oak tree. They're very different types of tree. We have a lovely one in the school playground, and it's very big, and it's got lots of little dashes across, just like in this picture. The cherry tree can easily be confused with this tree. This one has little dashes that go across too. Can you see? This is a silver birch. It's a little bit more silvery in colour, but still has the little dashes going across. And you can peel the bark on this one, but you have to be a little bit careful because don't forget, the bark is the skin of the tree and it protects the tree on the inside. So too much damage can be harmful for the tree. Maybe you could go out over the next few days and have a look at the bark. Maybe you could do some bark rubbing like we looked at last week. It'd be really interesting if you could find the catkins or the lambtails and see if you can find the sea anemone type bud nearby on the same branch next to the catkin. It'd be really good if you could get people looking with you. Have fun and we'll catch up next week.